right, and rookie Rod Pasteur out of Miami, Florida. On the left, Wayne Webb will open up the match on lane 19. Championship pair here, 19 and 20.
At the Highland Lanes in Austin, Texas. Wayne Webb will be starting the ball out around the second arrow, sending it out to about the fourth board. Comes in light the first shot, leaves the 2-8. Not an easy spare to start off with.
Wayne Webb averaging 221.4 this week through 42 games. Had a high game of 279. And very nearly led this tournament. As a matter of fact, with just a couple of games left, he was only 25 or 30 pins out of first place.
Considering he's only been averaging 208 for the year, which is down for him, the 221 average, and he bowled considerably better this week. And he's in trouble. Fails to convert the 2-8 to open up the first frame and falls behind right away.
Wayne has struggled in the championship round this year. Shot 147 in the opening telecast on the winter tour and lost to Randy Peterson, and then shot 177 against John Adrabanek.
It's not too good an average.
First shot for the rookie from Miami, Florida, and the nerves certainly weren't evident with the first shot, Mike.
Rod Pasteur, what he needs to do is keep his speed up. He throws the ball with medium speed to slow speed as it is, and the lanes seem to be hooking quite a bit, especially at the back end of the lane. So if he gets soft at all, Dan, it's going to run high through the nose. Rod
beat Joe Salvemini 246-204 in the position round game last night to solidify his position on this evening's telecast, so he can bowl under pressure. Would like to open up with a double here and put the pressure on Wayne Webb.
There's just what we were talking about. A little softer speed, not quite as clean a release. He didn't get it his thumb out of the ball as clean that time. And the ball ran high. He's fortunate he only left the 4-pin.
Only 25 years of age, 5'9", 150 pounds, and has 3 regional titles to his credit already.
Did that within a year's time.
As a matter of fact, he won his first regional title, and his application was still being processed in Akron, Ohio at the PBA, so he got ahead of things.
Well, I always tell guys when they talk about going out on the tour to try the regional program first, because if they can do it out there, then they got a chance to beat the big guys. But if they can't beat them in their local area, they'll never beat them in the national area. Webb ball breaking sharply right through the nose, leaves the 3-6-10.
Wayne Webb, now 28 years of age, 5'5", 150 pounds, very, very strong for his size.
And I think he's shooting this off of his strike line, Dan. He is. Going a big hook at it, and makes it look easy. Interesting, my approach to those spares like that was always to shoot it from the left and throw the ball straight at the 3-6-10. But we see Webb, he just moved a little bit left here. The ball's going to go right around the second arrow, a little left of it, now out to about the 4th board, and hook back to make the 3-6-10. A little better reaction that time. Just a better hand release than he got in the first frame is all the only difference.
It's interesting you mentioned hand release, because he told me just yesterday that for the last year or so he has struggled with his hand position and his release. I just can't seem to get the feel, and this week, the last couple of weeks, he has started to bowl better.
He's struggling. Somehow he always manages to make 100,000 at the end of the year, and he's struggling with the hand release.
Well, when you mention money, thus far he's won only 31,000. He won 127,000 last year, so he is behind schedule.
There's the speed he's looking for, and oh, what a bad break, leaves a solid 10 on a flush pocket hit. Rod kind of gives it an evil look there.
Well, I don't think he was particularly pleased with that. Absolutely perfect flush shot.
Watch the 3-pin, third from the right. And it goes to the wall, comes back so fast that it missed the 10-pin. And we see his reaction. He has to turn around twice to look at it. He had that one written up.
Does it ever help, Mike, when you look back? Do they ever fall down?
Unfortunately, no.
Well, that's just got to tear you up, because when you come out and you really throw a great shot, to leave a solid hit like that is tough.
It's tough, but it's not as tough the fact that he was working on a spare. If he were going to try and get a double and left something like that, then it really demoralizes you.
Rod had a high game this week of 279, averaged just a fraction better than 220 for the tournament, en route to qualifying 4th.
On the crossover, and it hit the thumb hole.
Well, it's Certainly wasn't a good shot, but he did get a break. And at this point in time, Rod Pasteur leads by 10.
So
told us he'd take us all out to dinner after the show, too.
Well, he's got to get out there to do it.
We got to talk him into making a finals here in the next week or so.
He did it, though, a few years ago in Buffalo. It was not on live television as Wayne Webb throws a double.
Last night, Wayne was in a situation where he was very close to not making the telecast, and he made the comment, hey, if I don't make the show, I'm going to quit bowling.
I thought that there was no way that I could miss the telecast. I was bowling real good, come out last night. I couldn't win a game, had a couple of bad games, and came down to the last ball, but I'm here.
Really did. Said he was going to hang up the shoes. Of course, I'm sure that was tongue-in-cheek. He has been known to make comments from time to time.
Well, all of us have been known
comments.
to make little comments as Webb leaves the 2-pin on a light hit. What Wayne Webb is doing here, Dan, is he's using one ball on the right lane, another ball on the left lane here. And that's very unusual. You don't do that too often, but one lane, evidently, it appears the left lane is a little tighter for him. So he's probably using a ball that hooks a little bit more on the left lane and one that goes straighter on the right.
Still very much in the match at this point. One interesting note. We have had a rookie on the telecast 4 consecutive weeks. And unfortunately for the rookies, the youngsters, they have yet to win a match.
Well, Rob Pasteur says he's going to put an end to that. Pasteur trying for a double, trying to increase his lead from 1 to 11.
No solid 10-pin that time. And in speaking with Rod before tonight's telecast, I asked him, how tough is it for a rookie to go through such a talented field and win a title?
Well, today I think it'll be extremely tough because I don't think I've had as many television appearances as other guys, but in a way that can work as a plus or a minus. And for me, hopefully it'll work as a plus.
Trying for 3 in a row. Has been high both times on lane 19. Is high one more time, and this time pays the penalty, leaving the 4-7-10. It appears he's playing a little further to the left on lane 19. He's not playing out as far on the right lane as he is on the left lane. You see the ball right here, hooking sharply right through the heart of the pins. And it doesn't break him up this time. No good break as he had back when he left just the 4-pin. He's probably going to go for this. And he misses them all. Boldly tried for it. Loses the count. It's going to put him behind in the match.
Rod's performance, a classic case of showing the average bowler that the lanes are so much different from time to time. One lane from the other, and you have to constantly make those adjustments. They look the same, but they don't necessarily play the same.
They never play the same. Webb, nice shot, leaves a 4-pin on the right lane.
Wayne Webb won back-to-back tournaments last year, something only, 3 other players in PBA history have ever done.
Well, he did it as we see the replay here of his 4-pin shot ball just a little bit tight. He did it for the 3rd time in his career, Dan.
Wow.
That he's won back-to-back tournaments. He sticks shooting the 4-pin. Bill Allen did that a number of times, and I'm sure old Anthony must have done it, but it's a very difficult feat to perform, is winning back-to-back tournaments.
And Johnny Petraglia, Mark Roth, and Dick Weber, the other 3?
When you got me, I'll have to look it up.
I think so, yeah, as a matter of fact. And for Wayne Webb, he has won 2 tournaments in each of the last 6 years coming into 1986. He's a little behind schedule right now.
He says it's going to be a little tougher this year. Back in the pocket, leaves the soft 10. As he's got it working pretty good, get to the pocket of one ball on the left lane on lane 19, another ball on the right lane. Wayne Webb with the unusual delivery holds the ball down, and watch his head as he lets the ball go. His head goes to the left, and it appears that he never sees his target.
He must hit something out there with all the success that he has had. And at this point in time, he leads by 6 pins. We'll be back to her, only 25 years of age. And he is an outstanding talent.
And interestingly enough, he got 0 on that 4-7-10. If he'd got 2, he would only be 2 pins behind instead of 6.
Is that a rookie mistake?
Not necessarily. He had to go for it, and he just calculated wrong. He's had every ball in the 1-2 pocket on the right lane. And this one is too. Interestingly enough, he picked a finish on lane 19. He has not hit the 1-2 pocket on it yet.
Now, Mike, what kind of an adjustment will Rod make now on the left-hand lane? He has gone through the nose high on the last 3 shots. Do you maybe loft a little more, use more speed? What do you think he'll do?
Any of those are options. Personally, what I would do is I would move a board or 2 to the right and keep that same strike target. He's just, the ball's hooking too soon on him on that left lane. He needs to get more arc, and the way you do that is you move your feet to the right if you're a left-handed player.
And Rod has opted for 1 of 3 re-racks. Players allowed 3 official re-racks for each and every game, should they decide to take them.
And I think he did do just that. I was watching his feet, and it looked like he moved over a little bit more to the right. And he got a good result. There's the pro adjustment right there.
Confidence, too, to strike on that left-hand lane, considering it stymied him in the past.
And to take the lead with that strike. As we see that he swings the ball out left of the second arrow, and it goes out to about the 5th board, comes in light, and just saws the 5 into the 10. Webb up very quickly on lane 20. And leaves the 2 for 10.
Saw a number of those this week in the match play portion of the Austin Open, and it's remarkable how many guys can make this.
And there's Wayne Webb's parents looking on, not too happy at this stage of the game. They on vacation out in Kansas City, all the way from Rehoboth, Massachusetts, if I could say that.
They decided they were in the neighborhood. Oh! They were in the neighborhood of Kansas City and thought, well, geez, Wayne has been struggling. We'll pop in and give him a surprise visit, give him a little support, and it has worked this week.
Wayne Webb boldly going for the 2-4-10, hitting the 2-pin on the left side, sending it over into the 10, keeping himself in the match. It's 9th frame action. He switches balls again. Light and leaves the hard 10. 6-pin just wrapped quickly around that 10-pin.
How difficult is it, Mike? The 2 different bowling balls on 2 different lanes, but both of those balls probably have a little different feel, too, so you're making the adjustments there as well.
It just shows you it's a demonstration of Wayne's confidence.
He is also an equipment player, isn't he? In many respects, uses a lot of different bowling balls.
A lot of different bowling balls. Drills up new ones every single week. Converts to 10-pin. I did it once in 1981 in Cleveland. I used 2 different balls on the show, one on one lane and one on the other, and wound up winning the tournament, so it can be done. But like you say, there is a different feel to each bowling ball.
Rod Pasteur steps up in the 9th, the foundation frame, leads by 8, and would love to get himself a turkey here in the 9th.
Destiny is in his hands. Ooh, nice shot, and it just didn't quite strike. Leaves the 6-pin. He was just a little right of his target that time. I was really surprised the ball held as well as it did.
Rod's bowling goals to win and be the #1 player one of these days.
One of these days, huh? Cross lane at the 6-pin. Has the spare. Heads into the 10th frame. 7 pins up. The best he can get right now, if he strikes all the way out, is 209. The best Webb can get is 202. So again, the bowler that performs in the 10th frame, as so often happens on our telecast, is the one that's going to emerge the winner of this first match. Made the adjustment last time on 19 and came in light. And gets that light hit again. Needs one more now. These are really slow one. This is the old wall shot. Watch the head pin. Goes to the wall, comes back, and gets out to 5, 6, 10.
That in itself, a very big break. But this is now the critical shot. If he strikes here, Wayne Webb will be in some serious trouble.
If he strikes here, you don't even need 4 pins to win. I think
I could handle that.
Right. I didn't want to say that. But.
Big shot. He's looking at it.
Oh, he walked away from it.
Big smile on his face, too. Rod Pasteur knew when he let it go that he was ready to advance into the next game.
His best shot of the match right here. Solid in the 1-2 pocket. All 10 pins in the pit.
Boy,
And
that
he
ball
saw it,
just
and he
kept
was
on driving.
walking away from it. He knew it. That's a confident young man. 4 pins now. Stay behind the foul line and keep it on the lane.
And that's a nice way to win a game in the championship finals. The heck with 4. He wants all of them, but ends up with 9. Nice performance. And there's the handshake from Wayne Webb, who really continues to struggle in the championship round.
He's not going to get his 17th PBA victory tonight. Webb crosses over, leaves the 5-pin, just finishing out the match right now. Pasteur contemplating his next opponent. Kent Wagner was hitting him very well in practice. Let's see if he can do it when the lights are on.
Nothing comes easy out here, though. You know that.
Oh, yes.
Anybody that makes the championship finals has obviously bowled well. There's no such thing as an easy match. Wayne Webb will finish up the week collecting a check worth $4,000. And although he's a little unhappy, I know that he's pleased with the fact that he did qualify for the championship finals. The final score in the opening match here in the Austin Open was Rod Pasteur 208, Wayne Webb 190. There's
I wonder what it would do to the street down there.
be tough on the bowling balls too. David Letterman, yep, dropping things off 4-story buildings. Well, Rod Pasteur would like to drop another shot right in the pocket. He'll open up match number 2 on the left-hand lane, fresh from a victory over very tough Wayne Webb.
Well, he's moving up. You know, Wayne Webb was only 5'5". He's got a 5'6"er in here. Kent Wagner. And he starts with that light strike.
Seems to have made a pretty good adjustment on the left-hand lane, although the strikes have not been solid, other than the one that really put Webb away, the second shot in the 10th.
They don't have to be solid, then. They just have to all fall.
I guess that's the whole key. 27-year-old Kent Wagner, bowling now out of Palmetto, Florida, has earned $21,000 this year.
And that's what he was doing in practice right there.
On the week, average 221.5, his high game this week, 279, and there were a number of high games here at Highland Lanes in Austin, Texas.
Number of high scores all the way across the house all week long. Trying for an early lead. If he can take a double, make a double here on lane 19.
Been a member 8 years and has still yet to step into the PBA winner's circle.
Ooh, leaves the soft 10. He looks at his hand, and what that means is I just didn't get enough fingers in that shot. I didn't get the lift that I wanted.
Kent has struggled a little bit in the championship finals, is 0 for 3 overall, but told me in 2 of the 3 matches he bowled very well, just wasn't fortunate enough to win.
I remember one of them. He lost to Marshall Holman, who shot 290 at him. It's hard to win games when the guy shoots 290, and you don't win missing 10 pins either. Just a mental mistake there, because I saw him practice 10 pins in practice. He looks back at his wife and kind of a sick look on his face. But that's what she was talking about in that interview, not letting situations get out of control. It's going to get somewhat out of control if Pasteur can double. And he gets the break and trips out that 6-pin.
He doesn't appear to be, but he is a very intense player. Very cool, though.
Watch the 3-pin. Third from the right. High hit. It goes to the wall and trips out both the 6 and the 10. Takes a 22-pin lead after 2 frames. Can increase it to 32 with 1 more.
Rod attended Morehouse College in Atlanta. Got himself a business degree there. So now that he's beginning to make money, obviously he knows how to invest it.
Right. Doesn't get the break and trip the 6 this time. Leaves it. His parents looking on right now, and can't tell how they feel by looking at him.
They've got their game faces on right now, Mike.
Is that what it is?
Sure. Reginald and Gloria Pasteur made the trip up and walked into the bowling center about 5 minutes before the championship final started. So obviously they're a bit harried, but they look like they're enjoying the festivities thus far. Their son has bowled very well. He knocked off one of the top players in the world in the opening match. Winner of this game will advance against one of the strongest players on the tour, John Gant. Of course, Steve Cook, the top seed. The loser will take $5,000 home.
We saw some of the high games that Kent Wagner's had this week. He's had a number of them. Leaves that 10-pin again. And he's starting to wave at him and mumble to himself. And that's still early in the match. He's still well in the match. Just needs to get his thoughts together, get his emotions together, make the 10-pin, come back, get a strike.
Kent Wagner has bowled very, very well over the last month. As a matter of fact, he has made the top 24 finals the last 3 weeks as he applauds himself on lane 20 for sparing the 10-pin.
As his wife Lisa looks on, it was a little bit of a sarcastic applause almost there for himself, wasn't it?
Well, better late than never. Just got to figure out how to knock that 10-pin down on the first shot. Trails by 21, so it's time to get it in gear here in the fourth frame.
Light and carries, though.
5-pin dancing around just a little bit, so a break for Kent Wagner as he tries to right himself, but the rookie Rod Pasteur currently leads here in match number 2. And speaking of a guy who has his sights set on something, rookie Rod Pasteur.
Nice shot. Excellent shot. He gets the line very squarely. I love his follow-through.
Really throws the ball, I guess, much softer than the contemporary player, Mike.
His speed reminds me of Earl Anthony's speed.
Same with me.
And he hooks the ball a little bit more than Earl did, but the speed is very similar. I really think that this young man's going to have a nice future ahead of him. Up by 21. Trying to increase it to 31. Oh, is he going to fall? Yes! Woo-hoo!
You sound a little bit excited there, Mike. Why was that?
Well, you throw it that good, you're supposed to get 10. He leaves a solid 8-pin on a flush hit. I don't know what came back off out of the channel, but knocked that 8-pin over. Should have fallen the first time, Danny.
A double in the fourth and the fifth, and Pasteur now leads by 31, but Wagner working on a strike. Needs a double here.
Absolutely, almost in a must-strike situation. Try to give it a little bit extra. I mean, try to lift it a little bit harder and just steered it up there toward the nose. Leaves the 3-6 here. Kent, however, though, is able to come from behind to bail out games. Last night, he got 6 in a row at the end of the game to save his spot on the telecast.
And speaking of that spot on the telecast, I asked Kent earlier this evening if the number 3 slot was a good one to come out of to perhaps win his first title.
Yeah, I think so. If I can get by the first match, I think I can go all the way. I haven't won a match on TV yet. I think that's the trick.
Now, what about the fact that a lot of people say that your wife is a better bowler than you are?
Oh, she definitely is. She's the greatest woman bowler there is, as far as I'm concerned.
Well, he doesn't let that male ego get in the way, does he?
Not when you're married to the leading money winner, you don't. Obviously, they have a great relationship, and really it's difficult. You know how tough life is out on the PBA National Tour and on the LPBT Tour.
What I think, though, is going through Kent Wagner's mind, just judging from his talking head there, is he's thinking about winning that first game on television. And it's a major hurdle in his mind right now, as it appears to me.
Rod Pasteur has struck in 4 out of 5 shots and would dearly love to mark himself a turkey here in the 6th frame.
In a position to take a commanding lead. He throws a couple strikes here. Right through the heart and doesn't get any kind of break. Leaves the 2-4-7-10, loses count, and has a potential open here. Just a hair soft with the speed. Didn't get the ball out on the lane. Looked like it was a little short. Look at how smooth he is. Nice long slides. How square he is. Good follow through there. Just appeared that he didn't get that ball out another 3 or 4 inches out on the lane. This is a makeable spare. He's got a chance. Ooh, hit the 2-pin a little bit too flush. Leaves the 10 and gives Kent Wagner an opening. You see here, as he gives it a valiant effort, but the ball hooks a little bit too sharply at the end. catches too much of the 2-pin, misses the 10, and the lead now is down to 16 pins. If he'd have struck there, it'd have been 42. He opens it at 16. Trying to get back on track, and does.
An excellent shot on the left-hand lane. Rod Pasteur makes a mistake, but then comes back with a very, very solid shot, and he leads by 16.
It's a special events for the pros, a golf tournament. We're really looking forward to having professional bowling back in Oklahoma.
Kent Wagner trails by 16, but could cut the lead with a strike here.
Working on a spare. And gets the 10-pin out of there this time.
Sort of a gritty performance by both players in match number 2. Lanes don't appear to be yielding many strikes, Mike.
Big shot coming up here in the 8th frame for Kent, though. He's down by 16. A double here would do wonders for his confidence. It would do wonders for his attitude toward winning his first match on television. We see the difference there, 123 to 107, 16 pins. Very little time Kent takes. Really taking a little extra this time. Quickly up to that line. He's coming in light. Not going to make it up. Is he going to get a break? No. Just, again, steering. It's confidence right there, Dan. That's the only difference. The shot is there. He's just not able to make his body do what his mind wants it to do right now.
It seems as if also when he gets into pressure situations that those feet continue to move faster and faster, and when you get to the line a little ahead of your body, that creates problems, doesn't it?
Well, you spotted the exact problem there. He has a different style, not one that I would recommend. I recommend pushing and stepping at the same time. He drops that ball now and charges after it, and I don't think that style is as reliable under pressure as, say, a style like Rod Pasteur's is right here. This is more conventional, standard, like things we used to see, Dan, when he's throwing it from the port side.
Gave that one plenty of room and nearly caught himself a break, and that seems to be the widest he has thrown the shot on the right-hand lane. Was that a mistake, or do you think that was by design?
Well, I think he wanted to get it wider and out of the lane. Remember the last time we said he was a little bit short over there. He wanted to give it room and get it out of the lane, and it just didn't quite make it back. He gave it a little too much room.
Goes to show you that the game of professional bowling is one of constant adjustment. If you don't strike on your last shot, you have to decide to do something a little bit different on the next shot.
Or if it's a tap, you have to discipline yourself that you have to keep making that same good shot and that the pins are going to fall. 9th frame action, 16 pins, still the difference.
Pasteur, should he strike out in the 9th and the 10th, would have a possible 233 game. Kent Wagner, if he goes off the sheet, is at this point shoots 207.
Pasteur going at a 203 pace right now, so he hasn't got it won, although he's in a commanding position. Foundation frame. Good speed. Oh, good shot. He looked like he stuck a little bit. Leaves the solid 7-pin. Ball goes into the 1-2 pocket. Watch the 4-pin, second from the left, as it just stays nice and low, and it goes right around that 7-pin.
Never ceases to amaze me how you can throw a shot that good and not end up with a strike.
And he didn't wind up with a spare either. He had missed the 4-7 in the first match when he went for the 4-7-10, and he's trying to give this match to Kent Wagner. Now, a little bit of inexperience on both their parts showing, but Wagner now sitting on the bench is only 4 pins down, and he can strike out to lock this match up. He can shut out Rod Pasteur.
How quickly it changes.
Well, here's his chance, and he makes a bad shot again right through the heart, leaves the 3-pin as he hits himself in the head. He has just not made the shots that he needs to make in the pressure situations in this game. This is just nerves, Dan. It's nothing more than nerves, and he just yanks on this ball, and it goes dead left of his target. He never got out of it clean. He's aiming about the 6 board. It hit the 9th, and he practices on the spare shot. He's fortunate to get 9 and a spare out of that shot.
196 is the best that Kent Wagner could shoot if he strikes out in the 10th frame. Rod Pasteur, on the other hand, could shoot 201. So the momentum switches back the other way, and Pasteur is now in a position to do what he wants.
But again, we're in the situation the bowler that performs in the 10th frame is going to win the match. better shot. See, just the difference of just execution under the pressure. But the pressure really mounts now. This is to take the lead right now to make Pasteur double. That'll make Pasteur mark. This is to make him double.
Kent Wagner is an excellent match play bowler. As a matter of fact, he won all 8 of his matches last night in the 6th and final round to qualify.
But what he's thinking right now, this is to win my first match ever on national television. Can I make that shot? Light, and gets the light hit. Gets the break. Pretty good shot, and got the good break. It's going to force Rod Pasteur to double. Went with a lot of speed here. Comes in light, the head pin goes to the wall, comes back off the wall, and gets the 4-5-7.
Mike, players have their favorite shots in pressure situations. Do you think that Kent Wagner's is the frozen rope?
Yes. The frozen rope, we mean a lot of speed. Light hit, gets 9. It's going to wind up with 195, I believe, is the final score. Rod Pasteur is going to need a double and 5 pins to win the match. And he goes over and checks the score with the tournament director, Harry Golden. Looks at the rack. And again, Wagner did his job in the 10th frame. Now Pasteur has to say, I have to do my job. And we've seen this happen so many times in recent weeks on the PBA Tour. You have to play in the 10th frame to win out here. You can't do it any other way. Kent Wagner's not even looking on. He's got his head buried in a towel.
Pasteur with his pressure shot lets it go and likes it. And he is going to get himself a bit of a light hit. And, boy, you look at his face, and he doesn't appear to be affected at all.
He is cool, isn't he? I'll tell you what, I really like this man's composure. Trusts it, gives it room, it comes in light, the ball is alive, the pins dance and fall. That is as good a pressure shot as you can make. The tendency under pressure is to cut it a little short and have it come up. Wagner wants this first win so badly, but he doesn't dare look.
That's the tough part of bowling, too. You don't get a chance to go up and stop him. You just got to sit there and wait for the reaction.
Kent Wagner thinking back to that missed 10 pin in the 2nd frame to win the match right here. On the Brooklyn, he gets the break. Oh!
Talk about a break. Rod scratches his head. He set it short from the get-go. Really had no chance to end up in the pocket. Crossed over, and the 5-pin sort of backed out of there. And Kent Wagner is beside himself at this point.
And it wasn't even a good Brooklyn, Den. It was not even a good Brooklyn. I think the head pin hit the 5-8.
Yeah, but what was it you told me? When they all go down, it's a good shot no matter what?
Now you make my words come back to haunt me, huh?
Rod Pasteur strikes out in the 10th. As a matter of fact, both. Safe to assume now that a left-handed player will win the $115,000 Austin Open.
Oh, what makes you think that?
Well, I like to stick my neck out once in a while, Mike.
I know you do.
I don't do it often, but of course, top seed Steve Cook is next after this match.
Rod Pasteur says those right-handers were easy to dispose of. Now we got to get the lefties. They're the real tough ones.
Sure. Opening shot in the semifinal match. And through the nose for Rod Pasteur, who looks in disbelief. I think he thought he made a pretty good adjustment, but obviously did not.
Well, leaves the 2-4-7. Relatively medium tough spare right now, but see if he can convert it. Keep himself clean through one frame of the semifinal match. And then make that adjustment on lane 19 to get the ball back in the 1-2 pocket. Has the spare. And as this match started, our statistician Joe Berardi pointed to Gant's name and he says, this is going to be your winner. That's what he said.
The Buzzsaw. Had a chance to watch him bowl in the doubles tournament in Las Vegas earlier this summer. And you're in for a special treat if you like to see guys hook the bowling ball.
More speed. Same result, only leaves only the 2-pin, right through the heart of the pin.
John Gant, 6'2", 190 pounds, a big strapping left-hander, an excellent baseball pitcher. Threw for the Bearcats at the University of Cincinnati for 4 seasons and had a couple of professional offers in minor leagues, but decided he'd rather stick with bowling. Oh, well, it always comes back, Mike, when you've got a hook like that. Earlier this evening, since John was so successful yesterday in match play, I asked him what the key was to winning those head-to-head matches.
Well, Monday I worked very well on my concentration, and it just seemed to work out real good. I I took one shot at a time. I didn't worry about what the other guy did, and I just got into a groove and won all 8 matches. So I made my big move then.
Well, there's news right there. John Gant not carrying a light hit.
Those pins just dance. They're so lively when his ball hits the pocket.
That extra revolutions that he gets. Many estimate that he gets close to 14 or 15 revolutions going down there. I don't really know how you'd count them. It's a blur. As the spare.
John averaged 222.2 for his 42-game effort this week and had a high game of 300.
Can't do any better than that. He's not going to have 300 tonight, though. Not, at least not in this match.
300 this evening would have been worth $25,000 from True Value Hardware. Maybe the championship game.
Gives it a lot of room. And knocks that 7-pin out of that soft speed. How smooth he is. 5-step player. He's going to step out with that right foot there. Pushes it out. Now pushes it down. The ball slightly early. Bends forward to compensate for that. Nice long slide. Look at the right arm out for balance. Now watch the follow through and the head being still. Follow through comes right out. He doesn't steer the ball. He just lets it go.
Pasteur looking for the all-important double to open things up here in the semifinal game.
Gives it more room this time. Pretty adjusted.
Beautiful shot. That was flush right when it left his hand. And so the rookie from Miami, Florida has taken the early lead, I guess, but a long way to go here. John Gant with 1 PBA title, the 1984 Denver Open.
Another 5-step player. Gives it a lot of room. And it came back. Woo!
Boy, I hope we get a chance to take a look at this one.
Contrasting style. Stands upright. Very short first step. Now pushes it out. Kind of late. Much later with the timing. Now watch the finish here. How stiff his right leg is right here at the finish. Just watch that ball finish in there light. And watch the 4-pin just nudge out that 7. Wow.
Everybody's in a hurry there. Those pins are moving at a rapid rate. Looks for the double and washes things around. Oh! A marvelous break on lane 19, and that's what you call the old Louis Tion. The bowling has been outstanding all week long, but there is a sad note to report this week. All of us at ESPN, the PBA players, the PBA staff who have all worked so closely with Pat Fitzpatrick, the tournament manager of this event for so many years, join with his many friends in wishing him deep and sincere sympathy on the death of his wife Lois earlier this week.
A lot of room. And he says to John Gant, if you can do it, so can I. Well, you begin to get a picture of why the left-handers scored as well as they did here, because Rod Pasteur gave that ball a lot more room. They have what they call swing area. The ball will definitely come back for them. Pasteur working on 3 in a row, up by 11 pins, can increase it to 21.
Pasteur has been receiving a bit of a break. His opponents are only averaging 192 against him thus far this evening.
Well, that's because they've been right-handed, don't they? See, so.
Oh, now don't get started on that.
I'm being facetious.
They all have to go down.
And he leaves the 6-pin.
You're always in the middle of that controversy, aren't you?
I guess it's part of my nature.
Constantly. But that's why we're all here, right?
He's going to start this ball out close to the second arrow. And the ball goes out to around the 4th or 5th board, and it makes that sharp turn right. And he leaves the 6-pin there and almost left it on the second shot as it just nicked it going by. The wind knocked it over.
The spares have been a very exciting part of this evening's telecast.
And here's his spare shot here. Watch it. The breeze knocks this one over here. Just don't hit it too hard. It might be the head pin the next time.
Talk about heart failure.
Gant looking to even the match. Well, he can certainly throw strikes.
A former Sporting News Rookie of the Year, as I mentioned back in 1984, he won his very first title, and also a record $43,370. So John Gant, in his professional career, really got off to a very fast start, although he was one of the best amateur bowlers in the country before he turned pro.
I've been hearing about this guy from Irv Hoinke for a number of years. And Irv Hoinke, of course, has that famous tournament, Cincinnati, Ohio, and he happens to be the sponsor of this young man.
I think that's money well spent.
It's good investment. Trying for 4 and the lead. And doesn't get the pin to fall over this time. Leaves the soft 7, keeping the match nice and tight. John Gant's power ball. Snaps it out there. A lot of wrist and turn. And it's impossible to count all those revolutions, but every time you see that white coming up, that ball's turning over. 13, 14, 15, 16.
Mike Durbin and our director, Kent Samuel, in the truck, counting those. And it just goes to show you that the production people will go to all costs to come up with the right answers. There's no doubt about it that our producer, Jim Rosenberg, and Kent Samuel are here to provide us with all the information.
And plus a lot of kidding tidbits in our ear. Yes. Pastor trying to get back on track, and does. He's really got that right lane nailed.
I think both of these young gentlemen, Mike, realize that the winner of this game bowls for the championship.
And between the two of them, we only have one PBA title, so it's something that they really both desire. Pasteur probably a little bit more than Gant. 1 pin separating them right now, going into the 7th frame. Pasteur, what's the word? Inscrutable? You just you can't tell how he's feeling from looking at his face. I never was able to do that.
Probably a marvelous poker player.
I never was a good poker player either.
Neither was I. All right. On lane 19, so Pasteur comes back with a big double of his own. He still trails by 11. And excited, I mentioned that Pasteur trailed by 11, but he does lead by 11 heading into the 8th frame.
And zips it out there again. Leaves the 7 pin, and the messenger says fall over. Interesting to see what pin that was. We're going to get a look at it. I think it's the head pin. Let's watch that head pin as the ball comes in what we call half pocket behind the head pin. The head pin goes to the wall, bounces out of the channel, and it definitely is that head pin coming across to give the message to the 7 pin to fall over.
Mike, how long is it from the time that the ball drops over the edge of the lane from when the rack comes down?
ABC rules say I think it has to be 3.5 seconds. And there's the double. He took advantage of it.
Didn't need the 3.5 seconds on that shot.
No, he didn't.
Just to give you a little history of the match between these two guys last night, Rod Pasteur was the winner. A low-scoring game. He beat John Gant 203 to 168.
1 pin separating them right now.
Pasteur working on a double. Semi-final game. It's been outstanding.
Gives it room. Oh! Boy, he threw the ball nice.
Fans here at Highland Lanes in Austin, Texas, very appreciative of the effort.
Well, a lot of people, not a lot, but some have gotten their first title here. I can remember when Gary Skidmore did it back, I think, in 1981 or 82. Skidmore, I think, went through the field that day, won 3 or 4 games on television.
Both players pretty well lined up at this stage.
It's a matter of executing right now. They know where to throw the ball. It's just a matter of making your body do it. 9th frame. Gives this one more room. And he gets the chain break. Woohoo!
Well, he wrote that one off. Pasteur, there's no way in the world he figures that this ball is going to strike.
And we're going to watch the 6 pin here. Watch the 6 pin. Second from the right is going to come off the sideboard. I think it's a 6 pin anyway. No, it was the head pin. That head pin's been active. It came off the sideboard and got the 3.
Pasteur with a possible 269 if he would strike out in the 10th.
Gant's in a must-strike situation here. And he responds beautifully. Neither bowler has let the good break of the other player disturb them confidence-wise. There we see the situation going into the 10th frame. Both players, well, Gant working on a turkey, Pasteur on a 4-bagger, and the difference 11 pins. Gant right now, if he gets this one, cuts the lead to 1. So for the third match in a row, the player who performs in the 10th frame, I'm getting to sound redundant here, is going to win.
But that's something that the pros expect for the most part, don't they, Mike? You do that all week long in match play.
Absolutely. Exactly right.
John Gant taking a few extra moments, and he has decided to re-rack on lane 19, I should say. Is he buying time, Mike, or do you think he was really displeased with the way the pins were set?
I think he was displeased. Interesting, he had originally picked to finish on lane 20 and switched it at the last minute to finish on 19.
He needs a strike here to stay in the hunt.
That's the best way to get one.
Wow, that is just power plus, and he's bowling with a great deal of confidence.
Can't throw it any better than this right flush in the 1-2 pocket. All 10 pins will disappear off the pin deck into the pit. Still trails by 1 pin. One more puts him in the 250s now.
These two young players have been very impressive under pressure.
High leaves the 4-7, just a little short with the follow-through that time. That's the pressure that does that. He knew where to throw it. He just couldn't make himself trust it like he wanted to.
As soon as he let it go, he knew that it was going to be high. He knew he'd just cut it off. He'd made such a great shot. First shot in the 10th.
He's still in the match. He's going to be down by 3 pins. At the 4-7, has the 2 pins, finishes up with 246.
Normally, 246 is good enough to win, even in the semifinal game, but that may not be the case.
And our statistician, Joe Berardi, says that Rod Pasteur is going to need 9, spare 9.
And that is much more difficult than it sounds.
What he's thinking is strike. He's thinking strike locks it up. He's looking at that rack. He's been very cool, confident all day long. But this is extreme pressure now. He's really getting his baptism of fire right now.
Looking to win his 3rd consecutive match and reach the finals for the first time in his very young career.
A lot of room. A lot of room. And, oh! Boy, the soft speed that time got the ball back.
How does this happen, Mike? These pins continue to fall later and later.
Watch it. The head pin goes to the wall. Barely got the 3. The pins dance and tickle and wiggle and wobble, and they do the hula out there and fall over.
That's the leaning tower of 9-pin.
And here's his reaction.
Had it all the way.
He's not embarrassed at all. He says, I had it all the way, right?
Well, there's a rookie on the run right now, and he mentioned earlier this evening, hey, I'm just going to go out there and take it 1 shot at a time, and if I do well, I'm just not going to worry about what the other guys do.
Well, he's been getting the breaks. He's been bowling well, but the breaks have gone his way also.
And he's in a position to fill out here in the 10th and shoot 269. Well, he'll have to settle for 268, but it was more than enough as Rod Pasteur now advances into the title match against top seed Steve Cook. The final score, 268-246. In Steve's mind, he realizes how maybe Rod will be reacting to his first shot at a title match.
I think he's definitely thinking that. I really think that Steve Cook would rather bowl Rod Pasteur than he would John Gant.
Probably.
John Gant was really lined up and was just drilling strikes. And I think that Cook thinks he has a distinct advantage right now bowling a rookie for this title. But Rod Pasteur has answered every challenge. He's been cool, calm, and collected. This is a chance for him to win his first title, and a first title for a black man in the PBA.
Willie Willis came awful close.
Willie Willis won our resident pro championship, but that was against resident players. It wasn't a national PBA title.
But he also made telecasts on the national tour.
Charlie Venable got close. We've had a number of, there was a player, Williams, in the past who got on the national telecast.
Opening shot of the title match. Is it a good one? You bet, but a solid 7-pin, and we haven't really seen many of those, I guess simply because Mr. Pasteur has been playing the light hit this evening.
Plus, that soft speed keeps the pins down low, and he's been carrying very well with that slower, softer speed.
He almost seems like a player from a different era, almost the lacquer era.
Yes, he does. And for those who don't know what we're talking about, the finish on the lane says he makes his first 7th in. Used to be lacquer and is now generally throughout most bowling centers in the country urethane, which is a harder finish and gives a more violent reaction than lacquer used to.
Steve Cook out of Roseville, California, 10-time PBA champion. Currently leads the tour in 300 games this season. High game this week, 278. I think he'd love to pencil that in here in the title match.
Right through the heart of the pins. Leaves the 2-4-7.
I'm noticing now, Mike, that Rod Pasteur has his head down in his hands. I don't think he's going to watch Steve Cook bowl at all here in the title match. Maybe just concentrate on his own game.
This is the most important game of his career, obviously. It's much more important to him than it is to Steve Cook. Although to Steve Cook, it's extremely important, too, because Bowler of the Year may ride on it.
Mm-hmm. And he is right in the thick of that race. And, boy, it's turned out to be a terrific race.
Tough spare. Has it. Nice conversion. Start the match off with.
Steve Cook averaged better than 224 this week. Is currently averaging 212 thus far as the tour is concerned. He's an outstanding bowler from the top seeded position. I asked him what the key was to win here this evening from the #1 spot.
Well, I'm just going to come out and be real aggressive and try to throw 12 good shots and not really worry about who I'm throwing. And if I do that, I think I can win it.
And back in 1981, I believe it was, he came out at the Firestone Tournament of Champions and threw the first 10 strikes in a row against Pete Couture.
Oh, I remember that.
On his favorite of the 2 lanes. Ooh! Same thing that Rod Pasteur did, solid 7.
Career earnings for Steve Cook in 9 years as a PBA member, better than $532,000. Regardless of what he does here this evening, win or lose, he will surpass the $100,000 mark for the first time in his career. And he said, you know, that's a milestone, Denny. I'm very pleased I was able to do that.
It's a kind of a hidden goal, or in the back of the mind goal with every professional bowler starting the year, that they like to get to that $100,000 mark.
Plus, there's still quite a bit of the year left.
Crossley at the 7th in. Hard and straight, makes it.
He throws everything hard, doesn't he?
I really don't think he throws that first ball that hard. I think he really is a power stroker player. He's similar to Marshall Holman on the right, only not in physical stature, but in the way they throw the bowling ball. Although Holman, of course, doesn't have a big high backswing or anything, but they both are power strokers.
25-year-old Rod Pasteur out of Miami, Florida. On the right-hand lane.
Going high on the Brooklyn. And he says, I'll take those.
Shakes his head as he walks back. What does that do to a guy like Steve Cook when you're sitting on the bench and a guy throws a Brooklyn?
You best just don't watch it as he crosses over here and hits a perfect right-handed strike, and they all fall down. He got one of those to win against Kent Wagner.
I never cared when I went Brooklyn.
I used to.
Which was most of the time.
I used to early in my career, and I learned quickly not to care.
Never be too proud to take that X.
The 4-7 and the pressure of the title match telling. If you just kind of steered that ball, try to steer it into the 1-2 pocket to get that early lead. And you can see the tension written all over his face right now. Cross lane at the 4-7. Can't make any mistakes and give Cook an easy or early lead by a mistake of your own. Doesn't.
Rod Pasteur has already defeated Wayne Webb, Kent Wagner, and John Gant. He qualified in the #4 position, and this seems to be a summer of the lower guys on the stepladder because they have been marching towards the top here as of late.
We saw Dale Eagle do it. We saw Dave Houston do it.
Steve Cook trailing by a single pin in the 3rd.
And once that light hit, Cook is a very animated player. If he gets a string of strikes going, or just even a few in a row, he's going to be moving around. That's 260 pounds, moves very quick on the approach. And what's really frightening is if he's crossing next to you in the qualifying round, and he were bowling on lane 21 and you're on lane 20, and he gets a strike, and you just stood up there, he goes running those strikes back.
It's like getting run over by the refrigerator.
Exactly.
No fun. His hands are so big he uses 2 rosin bags. Can you believe that?
Look at his high games, 278, 278, 259. To take the lead right here in the 4th frame.
Oh, and he liked that all the way. So a big double for the top-seeded Giants. Steve Cook out of Roseville, California.
Him down so he can get back into this match.
Pasteur on a spare. And through the nose. What has he had? He's had only 1 split that I can recall on tonight's telecast. And remember, he did not get any count on it at all?
Right, he left the 4-7-10 every time he's gone through the nose. He's gotten a good break and broken up the split.
I say, as many times as he's fiddled around with that head pin this evening, he's gotten away unscathed other than the 1 shot.
Tough spare here, the 2-4-7. He's in trouble, and it comes back. Ooh, wow, almost got a bad break there. Looking at that ring finger right now, maybe he's might have a blister on that ring finger.
Last night I noticed in the position round game that the base of his thumb there was having a little bit of a problem, but obviously shook it off. And you are well aware, Mike, that many times you have to bowl with a very sore hand, and that's just part of the game.
Yeah. When you get to bowl for the title, you don't worry about it at that stage. He's been out of the pocket almost every time in this final match, and is out again. This time he has a split, the 2-7. And he just has failed to make the adjustment right now. Either the lanes are breaking down a little bit more, or he, because he's just a little bit extra nervous for the title match, is a little bit softer.
I would have to believe that he would approach this game a little bit differently than any of the other ones he's bowled here this evening, simply because of the exemption, the win, the trip to the Firestone Tournament of Champions in Akron. There's a lot on the line.
Nice conversion, more speed. That's what he needs on the first shot, that extra speed.
Steve Cook now in a position to really put the heat on the rookie. Cook leads by 14, and he is working on a double, shooting in the 5th.
And we should correct something that we said earlier before Cook put some heat on us, and that's we've been giving him 10 titles all show long, and he has 11. He won the PBA doubles to start our ESPN telecast this summer. So he's trying for his 12th PBA victory here.
And even does it. Steve Cook 5 and 6 from the top-seeded position in his career. Lets it go. It's a little high. Does not get the break. And he'll leave the 6-pin.
He's standing right in front of the pins with me, and I can't even see the pins. I'm going to have to look at the monitor because he blocks them out.
Blocks out all that sunshine. The thing that's so amazing about Steve Cook, for those of you who have ever had the chance to watch him bowl in person, he is so agile. At 6'6", 6'7", and 250, 60 pounds, he would have made a great tight end. Or a basketball player. I imagine he could probably clear out the paint pretty well.
He and Charles Barkley, huh? Cross lane at the 6-pin.
He is an awesome sight as he asks for a re-rack on lane 19.
It always amazes me about Steve Cook. Watch as he hits the peak of this backswing, how he cups that hand over that ball. It's hard to see right there, but he just cups it right around there. I don't know how those guys didn't do that. I couldn't do that, Dave.
For Steve Cook, I don't know, it was almost like Wilt Chamberlain when he used to be able to palm a basketball. When your hands are that big, or like Julius Erving, you can do so many things that other players can't do.
You notice my hands are nice and small.
Mm-hmm.
Cook trying to get back on the strike pattern. Light, breaks it down, leaves only the 3-pin. He thought that ball was going to make it.
While we've got a moment, Steve Crucian, an award-winning writer, past president of the Bowling Writers Association of America, and a former ABC Hall of Famer, is ailing in a Detroit area hospital, and we join with his many friends across the country in wishing him a full and speedy recovery. Come on, Steve, time to get back up and get on the approach.
I hope he's watching, Steve. We all wish you well and want to see you up and at him again. At the 3-pin. What he's done, though, is he's kept Rod Pasteur in the match. Pasteur, who only time he's hit the pocket in this championship match was the first frame when he left the 7-pin. It's been 4 consecutive high hits, high or Brooklyn. So he's got to make some kind of adjustment here. And does. Ball snapped just a little high again, leaves the 6-pin.
8-pin almost stood up on that trip, too. Do you think, Mike, that maybe Rod is starting to wear down a little bit? You know, he's had to strike in the 10th frame of all 3 of his other matches in order to win, and doesn't that take a toll on you mentally?
It does take a toll on you emotionally, but he seems to be the type of player that keeps himself under control and holds that emotion in.
As we've mentioned, Rod is a rookie, and he is currently in the race for Rookie of the Year honors. Thus far this year, he has won nearly $13,000. So he'll go over the $20,000 mark regardless of what happens here in the title match. His career earnings, $24,580. He has won better than $11,000 in regional play alone before coming out on the national tour.
This is not the region, though.
Yeah. Steve Cook's a little tougher than some of those guys that are back home.
Good shot, just not quite the lift. He arced that ball more, but you see the penalty there sometimes for that soft speed. The ball didn't have any power. Watch the ball deflect as it hits the 1-2 pocket here, and then watch the 4-pin go into the channel but not have enough power on it to come out and get the 7-pin. And his mother looks very worried, doesn't she? Cross lane.
Well, for the time being, but he's taking care of business lately.
At the 7-pin, must make this. Has it.
Steve Cook will now stand up in the 7th frame, and he leads by 14. Cook, thus far in his TV career record, 30 wins, 22 losses in 31 appearances, averaging a fraction better than .212 per game.
He's tough on TV, I know. I've lost to him. High. Oh, my goodness. The 4, 6, 7, 10 double pinochle, and we've got a close match. There's his wife, Candy, looking on.
And she's looking at the score, I have a feeling.
She knows the score. He's going to put himself behind in this match by 2 pins if he gets 8 out. What he's going to do, though, is he's going to throw hard at 2 of them and hope something bounces around.
Before he does that, though, he'll check with Harry Golden, National Tournament Director, and take a look at Harry Golden's scoreboard just to make sure. Cook was moving right along here in the title match until that error.
At the 6-10, firing hard.
Whew. Almost
bounced him out of there.
Almost
got to
kicked
move
a
it in the
couple of
right
pins out.
direction. And we see right there, he has 131 through the 7th frame. Pasteur, 113 in the 6th. Pasteur is leading in this championship match by 2 pins. Pasteur with his right hand holding his left arm. He looks like he's hurting, but he's just thinking.
In his mind, trying to figure out what exactly he will do in his next frame. Steve Cook needs a strike.
Light again, high
gonna get
light.
it.
He has lost his own rhythm. He's perplexed. The lane is not reacting like he wants to. He's been light, high, light. And Steve Cook may be thinking about Bowler of the Year right now, and that's why suddenly the pocket is getting more narrow or narrower for him.
Sometimes the pocket looks minuscule, doesn't it, Mike?
Tell me about it.
Almost microscopic in some cases. And then other times it looks like a bushel basket.
Taking a lot of times even at the spare. Has the 3-pin, which he missed one time last year in Peoria. He missed the 3-pin to lose a match that he probably would have gone on to win the tournament. 8th frame action. Pasteur, who has only 1 strike in this championship match, and that was a Brooklyn strike. In fact, we've only had 3 strikes by both players. This is a battle of who can gut it out.
Battle of nerves.
Looks good. Looks good and is good.
Pasteur stayed down solid at the line on lane 20 and made sure that he fitted the pocket.
Head so still. Nice long slide. Good follow through. And just a very calm reaction. Much calmer than the spectators in the background.
They're going crazy. Pasteur, should he strike out, as a possible 223. Steve Cook, if he went all the way off the sheet, would shoot 211.
Pasteur, the foundation, if he gets this one, no matter what Cook does, he can't shut out Rod. 9th frame.
Come on! Yeah!
Oh, and he's been getting good breaks the whole tournament, the whole night, and now he gets a bad break, leaves the 9-10 on a light pocket hit. Watch the head pin. The ball comes in light. The head pin clips the 3. Would hit the 5 and knock that 9 pin out. The head pin does not hit anything else. He has to fit the ball in between these two.
He knocked that down to beat John Gant.
Same hit. Identical hit to beat Gant in the 10th frame.
Not much room between the 9 and the 10. He's going to give it a roll, though, and just
doesn't
misses.
make it.
So as Cook opens, so does the rookie Pasteur. Now a possible 191, the best Pasteur could shoot, and Steve Cook has all the momentum in the world. The only problem now is he's got to figure out how to strike on lane 20.
Up by 10 pins. Cook is going at a 191 pace right now. He moved an extra board to the right. Gave it more room. Light leaves the 3 pin. And he stares at it and says, "You're not doing what I want you to do."
Steve Cook tried to coax that ball right back into the 1-2 pocket, but just couldn't seem to stretch out there and reach back and put it on a string.
Right now, both players can hit the pocket, can't hit the pocket, and are struggling all the way through. Cook, who takes a lot of time all the time, is taking even more time now. At the 3 pin. And not too solid, but he makes it. I'll tell you what, the nerves here are crumbling.
Well, if he doubles, that would just about wrap things up. And he's very well aware of that fact, Steve Cook is. Looking for a career PBA title number 12 and his 4th in 1986, which I think would probably move him ahead of the stack in the race for Bowler of the Year, and he'll also become the leading money winner.
And we see the scoreboard right there. Cook is potential 200 even if he strikes all the way out. The best Pasteur can get is 191. Again, the player that performs in the 10th frame. Sixth pin, Pasteur still alive. Rod Pasteur is going to have a chance to win his first PBA title if he can do what he's done the whole night long, and that is strike in the 10th frame. He's going to need 2 of them, assuming that Cook makes this 6 pin.
Well, the score's a little lower on this week's telecast, but the match is just as exciting. All 4 have come down to the 10th frame. And that's money time on the PBA Tour.
Cook taking even extra time at the spare. Taking nothing for granted. Has the 6 pin. Count is still important. Cook, if he strikes, winds up with 189. Pasteur would need 2 strikes and 9 in the 10th frame to win his first PBA title. A tie is still possible.
That would be interesting.
Especially since we're running out of time.
Cook unleashes the strike ball, and he knew it right from the beginning that it was a perfect shot, as Steve sort of chuckles as he walks off the approach, but now the pressure is laid heavily on the shoulders of 25-year-old Rod Pasteur.
And Pasteur has only 2 strikes in this championship game, both of them coming on lane 20, and he needs to get 2 more right here. Has to take them 1 at a time.
Steve Cook's banner is hanging on lane 20. I wonder if Pasteur has taken a look at that.
Gives it to the room. Tie. And Cook is the winner.
And Rod Pasteur obviously disappointed. A game effort by the rookie, but Steve Cook is the winner of the $115,000 Austin Open.
tough guy personified.
Collect $16,000 in first place prize money from the co-owners here at Highland Lanes, Jerry Ray and also Harry Peterson and wife Candy, along with daughters Stacy and Jill, a very happy Cook family here in Austin, Texas. Tonight's telecast has been brought to you by True Value Hardware Store. The more you've got to do, the more you need True Value Hardware Store. We've got what it takes. Coming up next Wednesday night on ESPN, it's the $125,000 Hammer Open live from Edmond, Oklahoma, beginning at 9 p.m. Eastern Time, 6 p.m. Pacific.